All right. Okay, testing 1 2 1 2. This is Right Knowledge Radio with your host Mudhuta Nudima Kahaga Duel. And today in NT in Nuwabic time, it is Sanu Tamedin Kubad Haru Usbu Tala Utash Nunamnir. That's year 80, the month of Haru, week 3, day Nunamnir. All right. And Nunam Near's title was Enlil. All right. So yeah, so I just wanted to start this video today. I don't know how long it's gonna be. It's just gonna be me talking about Sabians. It's just gonna be me talking about Sabians. I'm solo today. Um and I just really feel like there's something wrong going on over there. Um You got a lot of naysayers, backstabbers over there that really aren't allowed over here because of their behavior and the way they operate their own personal life. You got a lot of elders who aren't married. They don't even take care of their children, but then they claim to follow the Patarak or any other or the UNNM family guide. It's not the HTM because we all know that HTM spawned the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors, which is growing at a good clip. I have to say we're growing at a pretty good clip, so that's always good news. Slowly, then more than quickly, because we need people of quality to join, and we need to wash out all the individuals that joined for illegitimate reasons, so to see what they can get. Not to see what work they can put in to build the nation, but to see what they can get. And we'll get into the difference between Moors and niggas or Negroes or Nagaru, which are basically just niggas, and Moors, uh, people who have come into the divine reality of who they are as Moors, which goes back to ancient Tamare. Stop saying Egypt. Egypt is not one of our words. That's an invader's word. We say Tamare. I heard some people say Tameti. Cool. Just stop calling our ancient people Egyptians. We got to snap out of that and learn Yorabsuk, which is language in Nuwabic. Yes, a lot of words have changed. If you haven't been around, then you just haven't been around. So there's a list of words that's changed. There's hundreds of words that have changed in Nuwabic since scroll number 7, which was the teacher's guide, which we studied rigorously. Now that I'm going through the Arabic language, I'm actually putting myself through the school of Arabic, and a couple other brothers too. We formed a study group to actually study. Really, the language is called Ashuric, but and that's what I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it Ashuric. I'm gonna call it by its true name, from the tribal leader of Ashur, which you get Assyria, Saraic, all those things in the original script that the Prophet Muhammad wrote in, who was a Moor, who was related to the Mahdi, and the Mahdi is related to the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. York. So, who was the founding father of our nation. Um, so his potentate spoke fluent Ashuric. So we should also strive to speak fluent Ashuric. And I see some Sabian older brothers that walked with Dr. York don't speak no Ashuric. Matter of fact, the majority of them don't speak no Ashuric, but I know a couple brothers in New York that do. You know what I'm saying? So, uh, and even Nuwabians don't speak Ashuric. And yes, I'm making a clean distinction between Sabians and Nuwabians because that's the day that we're in. That's how they're talking. So that's how I'm talking from this side as the president, as the authority of this day and time. That's the way I'm talking because that's what needs to be said. I mean, every nation and tribe of people should stand up for who they are, except that these guys over there have failed to get the master teacher out, which I think they're just chanting and praying for him to get out, like some Christians. That's Christian stuff. They got the Psalms of Yanun now. That's Christian stuff too. That's Bible stuff. That's religion. Nuwabians are out of religion. We go back and study it, sure, to get other people out the spell, but me, I'm still going to the schools of religion, but I'm not religious. I just study as factology, like it says in the HTM, that facts are our religion. Facts. We study factology. We're not. We don't worship the stars. We're not Sabianisms or whatever. We don't worship the stars. Though we are Nabatans, we observe the stars and chart their movements and geographical. What am I trying to say? The shapes, right? The geometry. That's what I'm trying to say. The geometry of the shapes of the constellations and the dendera and the star maps. Yes, we do that as Nuwabians because we're the ancient Nubians. We came before Sabians. The Nubians go way back, way before Sabaism in South Kedar or South Ghor, because it wasn't called Arabia back then, right? So half of y'all don't even know what Sabians are. Now calls them converts in El's Holy Quran, right? The Sabians were converts that said illallah, illallah. So if you're gonna take on the culture of a people, because our race is Moors and Moors is a race, um, know what you're talking about, right? I just got a dictionary on the Sabbatic language, right? And looking up a lot of words and things are very interesting there. That our people spoke a unique language coming out of Tamare. This is not the original Egyptian language. This was another tribe of people who migrated out of Africa, which I would like to argue that what they're calling Arabia today is part of Africa or Nubia. I'm sorry. Africa means divided, right? The conquerors came in and called you Africans. That means you're divided. That's a poisonous word. Stop using it. Stop using it. Stupid. You're dumb if you use that word. And you're dumb if you use black too, Negro, black, or colored. Because the Prophet Noble Drew Ali in that subject was right and exact, right? Just like the master teacher said. So stop using words that don't reflect who you are as a people. Because if we didn't originally call ourselves that, then you need to stop using that word. So anyway, I wanted to kind of explain a lot of words. Actually, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. So, what I wanted to do is kind of explain why these new words came to be, right? So, I'm looking at the scroll number 7. And at that time, when the scroll was made, I believe like in 95, 96, 97, one of them years that the Nuwabic language came into its own being, and Nubic was an advanced form of Arabic. And so we kept that script as our connected script because we have 3 scripts: the Riz script, the Nubic script, and then we have our pictorial script, right? Which represents symbols, just like our ancient ancestors did. They drew symbols, water, staffs, the reed cane, birds, and it's like a what do you call it? Philology. I think that's the word philology. It represented more like syllables and whole phrases instead of just individual letters, right? And words and using word art. We're using uh, figure art. Let's say that, right? So I just wanted to get into a couple of words that that we changed as the brothers and myself study the Ashuric language. Um, you're starting to see a lot. You can see where Dr. York got these words from, right? Like, let's see. Let's see. I'm still looking in this Ashuric book. So frog, right? Frog in Ashuric language is a feminine word. So if I'm reading this correctly, it's dief, di Dif di at, right? That's a frog. Or you can say dif di atun, right? That means a frog, right? In Ashutic. Because also in Nuwabic, if you were a student, you would see the un at the end. He did the same thing in Nuwabic. The master teacher did because he was taking people who already learned Nubic, which was really an advanced form of Shudik, Arabic, and he was bringing some of that grammar into Nuwabic. So if you knew Shurdik at the time, you were going to grasp Nuwabic real quickly because it was almost all. I'm not going to say the same thing because it wasn't. There were changes, and I wasn't there at the time, but I could see through the books the changes and the brothers that I talked to. You can see the changes. So now, if I look up in the teacher's guide what frog is, well, hopefully this is a good example, right? Okay, frog is uh deaf da, right? Deaf da. So you could see where the master teacher took the dod, the fa, and the dal, right? The dal. So the Ashuric word is diif da out, diif di daatun, diif di atun, right? And then we got def da. Well, you could well he took the atun out, and then the e that well it's supposed to be in an international language it's supposed to be pronounced but as English speakers and master teacher know we couldn't really pronounce nothing because English is the worst one of the worst languages you could ever speak because it mispronounces stuff all the time even from the Queen's English in England, right? So the Nuwabic word was DEFDA and with a glottal stop at the end, which we call a satuch. So it's a defda, right? But the E is there, and E in English is sometimes pronounced like E. So it's difda. So it's kind of like difda, like the first part of the word dif, difdi atun. See that difdi, and then difda in Nuwabi. So you can kind of tell it's like a variation of, wherever the at was, he put a glottal stop, right? Like atun. Instead of saying because that's actually a letter, and I should So there's multiple examples, hundreds of examples like that, and so I don't know if we renamed the word frog, but let me check here. 'Cause I got a list here of the words that were changed. We're gonna put in the book. So frog is now in the Wabe Gerer. So that's just like many of the words that have changed in Nuwabic, not Sabaeic, not to be disrespectful, but um, unless the brothers choose to learn Sabaeic, I won't stop them because I like languages, you know what I'm saying? But I like ours the best, of course, because I'm a Nuwabian. And so all Nuwabians are encouraged to learn the language as it is now because Nuwabic, when it first came out, was basically Ashuric mixed in with a little bit of Sumer words from Sumer, especially the gods and Risk and the star, the solar system around Risk. The names of those bodies and star stars and bodies, and those all took on Sumerian names or Akkadian names, but Akkadian all comes from Sumer, right? Or Sumeru, right? So just a lot of those words, and I want to share some of these words with y'all today, because I feel like it's very important to get this out there, right? A lot of words have changed. So I'm gonna start with some fruits, and then some other words that I've found out through a book called "The State the State of Ancient Egypt," and it talks about how ancient Egypt set up their state, right? Like districts. The Damuj, the Damuj is like a harbor city. We know because we did a lot of trading across the planet. We didn't just stay in ancient Egypt. We were all the way in Ireland. They came to the Americas. If you think they just stayed in ancient Egypt, you a fool. Okay, so let me start to read off this list. It's about 30 words. I'm just gonna pronounce them and then give you the equivalent in English. Not the same exact meaning, but the equivalent translation in English, right? So etonki is orange. Usuta is a peach. Uh, heketi is a lemon. Daha'a, strawberry. Suhat, carrot. Hidawi, orange. Kesi, lettuce. Sheshbit, cucumber. Uh, we'ahe, corn. Mana, mushroom. Uh, dorag is an aubergine. Morami, tomato. Uh, matamo, potato. Be'un, olive. Let's see this one. Shem Irayaf. Shem Irayaf is a potentate. Saruf is passion. Ta'awal is air, because it used to be Hawu, right? But then a Shurdic word was Hawa. So we don't want somebody comparing our language to a Shurdic. They're like, oh, you're just trying to copy us. We can see all the patterns. So it's time that the master teacher was moving in this direction anyway, toward ancient Tamare, not toward ancient Sabbatic. At least that's how we feel from everything that he put out before he was kidnapped, and even a little bit after he was kidnapped, right? So Sherub is a fly, like an insect. And then the suffix for like a machine apparatus is a kebo. A bus is a tarher kebo. A bus, uh, garuk, garuk is a truck. Uh, denua is a circle. Bawut is a wheel. Also is a verb. It means to circulate. This one, the next one is debuwit, debuwitik. Debuwitik is a bicycle. Debuteti is a ship. Lisham Kebo is a rocket. Malkub is a train. That's actually from that was an original Nuwabic word from back in the day. So Malkub is train. Sheb'ah is change, like to change, modify, alter. Sashur is enable, activate. Uh, Yadadi is a gallon as a unit of measure of liquid. Banzen is gas. Um, Atewan, Atewan is welcome. Halun was Ashutic, right? So if you want to learn the Ashutic language, you can learn that word there. But in Nuwabic now is Atewan, right? Khawuj Atrug is a Caucasian. You could just say Kharuj, Khawuj, Khawuj. Hawut is an economic settlement, hub, or a district, right? It could even be a county. A county, yeah. So a district. So a Nawut is a city, town, village. A Damuj is a harbor. A Wehyut is a tribe. Um, a Hatya is a mayor of a town or city. Kan Kanbet is a members of the council, and a diadyat is a national council, like a federal council, like it would be equivalent to like Congress, but it's not because our culture is different. But for the American Negro who may listen to this recording, it's like your slave master's Congress that controls you. Okay, so let's get on to the next one. So Nawutjao, Nawutjao is one's local social network. Now these are all ancient Tamarian words that we have uncovered. We didn't discover. Well, discover just means to uncover it anyway. Doesn't mean we created it. These words have derived from ancient Tamarian. So um, it may be a variation of it because the nouns are not there. It's only the root letters. But when we plug it into Nuwabic, the noun pattern, the not the noun, but the vowel patterns will take shape. So that's how we get our word, right? So nedias. Nedias is humble or modest, and mariut is a quay or a dock, like where you dock your ship is called a mariut. And then um, and temkarit is business or commerce, right? So we've been busy over here. So a lot of things have changed. If you need a language class, um, we actually offer that for free from the Nuwabian University. So um, if you need more information about that, you can dial 855-849-1799, and we should be able to help you out there. All right, now I guess the meat of the show is I think this dude's name is Moon Ray. He's formerly known as the Nuwapian assassin. The brother always got a little bit too much to say, in my opinion, but he does have some good information, especially if you want to keep up on Dr. York. That's my only concern is Dr. York. It's not really well, it's good people too, right? My concern is good people that I could work with. But if I feel like I can't work with you or you're too disagreeable when it comes to certain things like, oh, you're supposed to convert over to Sabianism, or you're supposed to. I do read Pod to Rocks, and I'm sorry. I mean, I like the Pod to Rocks, but the actual I don't agree with every single book that comes out there. I'm not against every single book that comes out either. I read them. I find them very interesting. Some of it goes against Nuwabu, but I mean, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. I'm not gonna sit up here and hoop and holler about minuscule things. I'm like, cool. I don't agree with the Wabu. I'm not with it. Cool. I respect you, but hopefully you have some respect for me. You've grown up under Dr. York. Hopefully you've grown up to be an adult. Because just because you're old doesn't really mean that you're up for responsibilities, right? I mean, I see a lot of brothers over there on the Sabian side who are like 50 and 60 years old, don't even have a wife. You don't even have a wife. You don't even have a house. You're unable to sustain yourself. So these are things that a Nuwabian man just wouldn't do. You have to go back and read the UNNM Family Guide. And the Family Guide is really a status of your family, how to live up to a certain standard in your family. That's what the Family Guide, and it used to be the HTM Family Guide. Now it's been ported over to the nation because every single family in the nation this applies to. And it's not really, they're not laws, they're standards, right? How people will judge you in their opinion of you in Nuwabian society, right? How people will look at you if you're not married. Like we had a couple that came into the camp. They're gone now, but they're from Chicago. And I ain't gonna name them names because I still like them. So they came into the nation and the brother was cheating on his wife, and we were like, "Get out of here!" We kicked the brother out because according to uh, the UNNM Family Guide, you're not supposed to be cheating on your wife, right? And he wasn't working. His wife, no, no, it says a man needs to work. You know what I'm saying, to support his family. Now the wife can support the family too, but you're not just gonna sit up there and smoke some herbals all day. There's 6 kids running around, and you ain't helping your girl out, and she out working, got to come home take care. Man, that's exhausting. You know, that's a strong woman right there. We still got love for her. Still got love for her. And the brother who still got love for her too. He just need to grow up. He's in his early 30s, but he's acting like he's 15. You know what I'm saying? But it's easy in Negro society to do that because that's what the Negro was created to do. The Negro was created to destroy himself and his community. They want, oh, how come blacks can't get, and black and Negro is the same thing. It's just black in Spanish, like negro, negro, right? And negro for the Spanish at one time really stood for nigger. The way that they said it in a disrespectful context, it really meant nigger. So how could you call yourself a Nagaru? That doesn't NGR. You're still using NGR. Just take out the A, R, and the O and put in I and double the G and put the R in, you got nigger, right? Y'all still under the spell, man. Y'all still under the spell, man. Y'all need to come on over here and get back to what's real. Get back to divine reality. Get back to divine reality. That's I have no problem with the language, but that if you look back in the Sabian dictionary of the original Sabians at the time, there was no word called Nagaru. I put my life on it. There's no word called Nagaru. None. They just made that up recently and used the script, to explain it in. But there's no Nagaru. We didn't call ourselves Nagaru. The word Niger, Niger, or Niger, that came with Rome. The Greeks didn't even call us that. The Greeks called us Maurenos, which is because they couldn't say Maur, Maur, so they said Maurenos. It's Greek. You know what I'm saying? But you could tell the phonetics in Maur, which is an ancient Tamarian word, and Maurenos. That's where they got the word Maurenos from. They just had to change the phonetics so they could speak it in their tones, right? And there's no denying that. I would love somebody to try to test me on that. So anyway, I kind of forgot where I was at. This is Right Knowledge Radio. You know what I'm saying? This is United Nuwabian Nation of Moors national radio publications. So, Sabians. We talking about Sabians today. Now, I'm not saying all Sabians are bad. I'm talking about the ones that represent the tribe uh, have rubbed me the wrong way. So I'm really speaking personally on this call. I'm not even saying all Nuwabians don't like Sabians. I'm not. They may not agree with everything that's being taught after the lockdown of Yanun, and it's Yanun. You got to pronounce the W, okay? I hear people saying Yanun. No, it's not Nanun. It's Yanun. Y'all just y'all just never learn how to really articulate the language. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but you got to be cognizant about how you're pronouncing. The master teacher was very particular about that. And so yeah. So anyway, we've talked about language, and now I'm talking about Sabians as far as slandering the UN and saying that we're on a terrorist list. I just had to put the dude on check, man. Amun Ray, I think that's with the Rays, what I'm saying? Sorry, man. We got a little joke about that. The Jackson 5, Dr. York featuring the Rays. I'm sorry, man. I'm just being myself, okay? But this whole thing about us being on some terrorist watch list, that's ridiculous. I think you have to commit an act of terrorism to be on the terrorist watch list. Now, the brothers who are saying that Dr. York is a terrorist. I can't agree with that. So Sabians that are saying that the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors is a terrorist organization are also saying in the same breath, because they're ignorant and controlled by negative forces, that Dr. York is a terrorist. Because who led the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors? It was Dr. York. All right? So all this ignorant crap coming out from the Sabian camp of the tribe, you're actually murdering the character of Dr. York. And I'm here to stand up to all Sabians doing that crap. All doing all that crap over there. And they think that they slick because they still got nigga blood in them. Still got 3/5 of a man's blood in them. They're not even men, they niggas by the word Nagaru, right? That they're trying to bring down the character of Dr. York. Because if you slander United Nuwabian Nation of Mars, you slander Dr. York and you slander me. And I'm not going to stand up for that crap on Pamu's Batu channel, all that garbage that this dude Amun Ray is spitting out. The dude, and he's another one of them, brother. I don't think he got a wife, children. He ain't got nothing. Nothing. This talk of this he like one of them brothers that be sitting on the porch all day just talking about people, gossiping. And gossiping is a sin. It's a sin. So we don't do that. Nuwabian men don't do that. Like I said, we live by the UNN Family Guy. We don't do that. And stop talking about the nation as if our founding father is not Malachi Zadok York El. Ignorance, pure ignorance. And another thing these silly goats be saying is that all the books are those books are old, and that's that New York stuff. I think that's New York stuff. I'm from California, so we don't care if it's old. If it's hidden, it's hidden. If NWA was hidden and brothers still bump, the young kids even bump NWA. We don't care about what's new. Oh, we like Kendrick Lamar. He's from Compton, but we still play a lot of old stuff. I don't know if New York cats do that. I think New York dudes be just and they be hanging on the trends. You know what I'm saying? They big, well, LA is a big city too. It's the second biggest city after New York. You know what I'm saying? With like 9 million people. So LA is pretty big. It's popping in LA, just like it is in New York. And but LA dudes still be wearing khakis, Cortez. We don't care about new trends, and some of them might, but the majority of people in LA don't give a damn about that stuff. That's some New York stuff. So you sound like New York society, that type of society, trying to mix it in with Sabianism, right? In Cali, we really don't care. We don't care about that. But see, that's good though uh, because if it's ancient, it's ancient, and if the knowledge was relevant in ancient times and in all times, it's classic. So information is classic. And the information that Dr. York put out since '67, that's like saying the nine balls no more. It's not relevant anymore because it's old. Well, who determined what's old and what's not old? What's old? 5 years, 10 years, 1,000 years, 500 years? What's old? That's a white man's point of view. You know what I'm saying? That's a Caucasian man's point of view. What's old? And so that's what they're using to try to justify what's old and what's irrelevant. I'm like, how does right knowledge get old? I don't under I did I and they have yet to explain this ignorant statement, right? So you can see why I'm a Nuwabian, right? Because I'll question them. Why did the doctrine change? I question, why? I'll convert right now. Tell me why the doctrine changed. No answer. They can't answer. They can't even answer their own doctrine. So I'm like, nah, I'm cool. That don't even sound right. That's cool. I'm from Cali, so I don't need to change like that. I just enjoy the weather and just live under Ray with the sunshine and the good weather. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to change like that. Because in 10 years they won't even be called Sabians no more. They'll be called the Rayes or something. The Jackson Five, the Heartbeats. I mean, who knows what the hell these people gonna morph into? And they're done. Whenever we don't want this to happen, but if Dr. York makes the transition, they're done. They're done. It's a wrap for them. Who gonna step up and start writing books? Nobody. They're done. So I don't want to join a dying institution like that, right? They're dying. I mean, they're yeah. And his sister hates him. We know that now. You guys are all messed up over there. We don't want none of that crap spilling over into the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors. None of that crap. None of it. None of that crap that you guys are spewing over there. I heard they beating up one of Dr. York's daughters. Are you serious? They beating women in New York. I'm like, wow, especially beating one of Dr. York's daughters, man. If you did that in Arabia, man, you beat one of the sheikh's daughters, they will murder you. But y'all said, "Oh, okay, we're just gonna chant about it and do the papa thing," which is good. It's good for your spirit, but hey, if the spirit don't lead to action, then you fronting. You're fronting. If you're praying for something to happen and you don't participate in what you're praying for, then it's all for nothing. You're a Christian. That's why I guess you need to read the Psalms of Yanun. I mean, I guess you're a Christian. You need that. You need that. You know what I mean? So that's not accepted here. If you pray for something, I hope that you plan on participating in it. You know what I mean? So I think that might wrap it up here. Unless I got something else I need to speak about. Nah, I think that's about it. So yeah, I'll leave the video open on YouTube for comments and all that. I know it's kind of controversial what I talked about, but it needed to be said because enough people are not speaking out. It's like they hold on to the knowledge, but if you're unable to replicate the knowledge to future generations, it's all for nothing, man. It's all for nothing. And those who are Nuwabians, Ansar Law, because we're still Ansar Law too, even though we went on to higher natural sciences and the nature of nature. We're still Ansar because we know that there's etheric creators out there in different sectors of the universes and in many universes, and the brain nuts that created the stars, the planets, the moons, the satellites. Um, the brain nuts created the body, right? Created the brain, which houses the mind. These small particles that form the brain. And Afro Unu, aka Dr. Malachi Z. York, said that the brain nuts created the brain, which houses the mind, which grew the body. You know what I'm saying? So, uh, everything's conscious, man. You think is empty. There is a vacuum, but that vacuum also has um, intelligent stimuli that is used to create things, right? So, so when I was going back to, you studied under Dr. York since '67 in Brooklyn off of Bushwick, whatever. You went to classes. He taught you languages, taught you natural science, taught you the Prophet Muhammad, the Al Mahdi, and then you say all of that is irrelevant. That's some ignorant stuff, man. That's as ignorant as you get. That's like saying your ancestors are irrelevant. Oh, they're old. They're old. They're irrelevant. It's stupid. I know Dr. York would never tell y'all niggas that. I know he wouldn't. I know he wouldn't. Somebody made that up and said that Dr. York said something like that. So these are differences between a Nuwabian and a Sabian. I mean, I don't really know what else to say. There's a lot of slandering over there, a lot of backbiting, uh, beating up the master teachers, uh, daughters and stuff, brothers. I mean, ridiculous stuff, man. So um, I'm trying to do my best to hold it down. No, I'm holding it down for the nation and the tribes within it. And you know, I don't want them to stop doing what they're doing, but they need to clean it up. Clean up your doctrine, clean up the message that you're giving out to the world because you seem confused. And we all know that Dr. York said the devils deal in confusion. right? In generalities, like when you can't make up your mind, you're just all confused, right? God's dealing specificity. I can't even say it right. And specifics, right? God's dealing specifics because they got their mind made up or to channel their energy. So, um, yeah, that's about it, y'all. So that's it for this. The Tuat, the early daylight. We don't like saying morning because morning is what? When someone dies and you mourn, especially for Christian Negroes, they mourn. You know, they love crying, oh, my baby got shot. Oh, it's like a repeating episode that repeats every day. And it ain't even the cops. You know what I'm saying? There's other black people, like I said, things are happening because this is the nature of black people, the Negro, the Nagaru, because the Nagaru was made to destroy himself. That's the way the Caucasian man made him, right? When they stopped calling you Moors, they started calling you blacks, right? And started taking the indigenous people from America and changing them from Iroquois, Yamasee, committing paper genocide, erasing your tribal names from your birth certificate and putting Negro or colored or some bull crap like that to take away your rights. So the people who say that doesn't matter, then why did the Caucasians strive so hard to commit paper genocide? All right, because he knew if he called you by your tribal name, you had human rights. You were a human being. You were here before they were here, right? But oh, we're all from Africa. We go back to Africa. Stop. You're not from Africa. You're not from. I see this dude, Ink Pen Guardian. He looked like a black Irish dude. He got red hair. So anyway, he goes back to Ghana. I guess he's living in Ghana now. I guess he feels like he's an African. Nah, you'll never be. Never. You spent too much time over here. You'll never be. You're gonna have to strive really, really hard to try to sound like somebody from Ghana. Really hard. Really, really, really hard to try to sound. And I said about 20 years of studying just Ghanaian people speaking the language, learning to articulate yourself well in the Ghanaian tribe, one of the tribal languages, and really studying African peoples. Like me, I don't really trip because I'm Aniuea, which mistakenly is called Cherokee. So I'm not worried about going to Africa, though I'm going, right? Especially to Egypt. I'm going to Ghana too next year. We're going, but I'm not going to say I'm an African to disrespect. Well, you shouldn't even be saying the word African because Africans don't call themselves Africans. They're like, oh, I'm Ghanaian. I'm from this tribe and I speak this language and I dress like this. You can't claim to be a whole continent. And that's like, oh, I'm North American. I could say that. It's a word, but it wouldn't make no damn sense because there's Canada, there's Mexico, there's United States, there's Hawaii. You know what I'm saying? And I'm from a different. It wouldn't make sense. So that's another Negro trick that their Caucasian slave masters um, hit them with, right? So once you break out of the spell, you can talk like this. Once you get out of the spell and you're not afraid to talk because you got Nuwabu, the power of Nuwabu inside you, you can talk like I'm talking. But if you're not, then, oh, you're not in the Wabi Nation of Moors, they're terrorists. So if you're a Sabian and Sabians came from the Nuwabians, that makes you a terrorist too. That's why I say the nigga was made. The nigga doesn't know what a Moon Ray, the nigga don't know what he's saying. He truly does not know what he's saying. Because when he says that we're terrorists, okay, that means Dr. York's a terrorist. That means he's also a terrorist. Because without the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors, there's no Sabianism. So once we learn to get our humanity back, uh, then you can move forward. But you can't have people like that trying to free Dr. York. You don't even know what he's saying. right? So we have to be careful of the words that you use, because if I was an attorney and I heard him speak like this, let's say there's a case with Dr. York, he's going in for being a terrorist, right? And this dude is out here saying that the United Nuwabian Nation is a terrorist. The attorney would just record it. Is oh, this is what one of their own members said. So then they would tie it all together, just like I tied it together. They would tie it together, be like, look, well, not only is the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors a terrorist, Your Honor, and since Dr. York was the president of the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors and their leader, that makes Dwight York, which we know that's not his name, but that makes Dr. York Malachi also a terrorist, Your Honor. And what the judge gonna say? You know what? You're right. So these dudes don't even know what they saying, y'all. They don't even know what they're saying. And he's like 50 some years old. That's why I say some of these we got a new word that we're using in the nation for older people who are just didn't learn nothing, or they're ignorant, or they're just strayed from the path. We call them olders. They're not elders, because elder would imply in our culture that you're an elder in space, matter, and time, and in wisdom and intellect. Not just because you're old that you're an elder. No, 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 no. You're an elder because of your wisdom. But if you're old and you're still speaking stupid, like the dude does on the Padmus Batu channel, then you're just an older. You're an older. You're just old. I mean, you're just getting old. And that's the way we look at it until you're proven to say something that's worthy of praise, or you're saying something that make somebody tear up when they're into wisdom and knowledge and reasoning, right? So we have to draw a line in the sand, because we're seeing a lot of people who walked with Dr. York are very ignorant. I'm sorry to say, you know what I'm saying? I want to say something different, but the people that we run across, they're ignorant. They're ignorant, man. I mean, it's all about, oh, did pops give you permission to do this? And I could just throw the same thing back at you. Did pops give you permission to ask me that question? I mean, you want to get into pop said, or did pops give you permission? We can play that game too, and you'll lose. Because I've already outsmarted some of the olders on that. Okay, did Dr. York give you permission to ask me that question? So we can get into that too. Oh, the pop said, doctor. Oh, pop said this. Oh, yeah, prove that he said that. Uh, 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 somebody told. Well, somebody telling you that's not confirmation. So we call it the pop said doctrine over here as Nuwabians. But we don't follow the pop said doctrine, so you could just throw that away. We throw it all away. If you can't confirm it, we throw it away. And y'all Sabians can't confirm nothing. Hardly anything. So that's why we'll read your books, but we ain't gonna come over to the tribe, because that's not what it is over here. Everything that Pop said in the Wabu, you can confirm. Everything it said in Sabianism, you cannot confirm. So there's another distinction between Sabianism and the Wabu, right? So, and we're also the news bearers, right? From Nawaba, the word Nawaba. So So anyway, man, I think I pretty much covered all the bases when it came to talking about Sabians. I wish I had more positive things to say, but you haven't shown me more positive things. So I don't have many positive things to say, except that learn your language. Learn your language. So when you go in front of other people, oh, what is, oh, what language are you speaking? I've had people tell me, oh, what language you speaking? Atewan. Atewan. Oh, what does that mean? Oh, that means welcome. Oh, okay, cool. And people get interested. The people get interested. People just want to talk and type on the computer. And I'm like, well, that's cool. I see a lot of Sabians type. I'm like, that's cool, but are you going out to other people who are foreign to your culture, and do you have the balls to speak your language in front of them? I'm leaning toward no. So psychologically, that needs to be talked about. because it is weird to learn another language, even if it's your true language. If you grow up speaking English, even in your own Black Negro communities, they look at you like, "Oh, what language is? Oh, nigger, why talk that language?" You know, you have to defend it. So get ready to defend it, right? Get ready, because you have to feel comfortable talking your language. Your rasukuk, right? Rapsukuk, your language, right? So that's another thing that needs to be talked about: the psychological aspect of speaking your language, right? When people may look at you weird, your own folks may look at you weird. Have you guys talked about that? No, you probably haven't. But I'm here to talk about it because I'm real. You know what I'm saying? This is divine reality after you cross divine truth. So, and I got a lot to learn too, but I'm talking about the emotional toll, the psychological toll it could take on you just to be who you are in this country, right? And so that's why I think a lot of these dudes are still speaking English, even though they walked around the master teacher 30, 20, 30 something years, still speak English, can't even speak their own, not even the basics of their own language. Ahen, ankum, ahen, kem, you know, not even the basics, right? Because the master teacher gave the language to you to tell your story in, to change as you see fit, right? Because if you learned Ashuric, Aramic, then you're able to create or update your language. Because you can see a lot of words and those Nuwabians still teaching from the scroll number 7, which you're teaching is Ashuric or the old language Nubic, right? And if you don't know that, then you didn't study Ashuric. Because I'm just now, I wasn't around back then. So, and I'm kind of seeing it as a blessing that I wasn't around back then. Because now I read the books and it's very technical what I should be doing, right? I don't have to tell tales and fairy tales about stuff that happened on the land that may or may not happen on the land. Who knows? I wasn't there. So I have to trust in what you're saying. But by your actions, um, you can't even speak your own language. So I have to draw the line right there. Like, what did he really get taught by the Lamb or by the Triad? I don't know. I'm leaning toward no. I'm being skeptical. Yes, I am being skeptical because I'm a scholar. So I'm being skeptical on what you're saying until you prove what you're saying and bring some substance to what you're saying by your actions and your deeds. Uh, I have the right to be skeptical about you. I reserve the right to be skeptical about everything you're saying about Dr. York until you can prove to me that you're even actually a Nuwabian, a Nuwabi, right? Do you even know how to say I am a Nuwabian in Nuwabic? I'm just gonna start challenging people. I'm gonna start challenging because I don't. What was that one rhyme by Busta Rhymes? He said, "Call me an atheist because I don't believe in you, God." You know what I'm saying? I don't believe the olders. I don't care how long you're around Dr. York. I don't. That has nothing to do with you leading the next generation of Nuwabians. You know what I'm saying? I don't see that as really being relevant until your actions and deeds make it relevant. You got a lot of these dudes coming up saying, "Oh, I walked with Dr. Eric." That's cool. So let's hear you speak some Nuwabic or some Ashuric. Nah, nah, brother. Go ahead and take a seat in the back. Let the new let the new generation get the front seat. Those who were eager to learn and not trying to hold on to, oh, I walk with Dr. York. So Well, I ain't trying to hear that anymore. That's dead. That's dead on arrival. DOA. Dead on arrival, Nuwabian Moore. You know what time it is. You know what time it is. Time to show and prove. Atrud Zer, and I forgot what the word prove is. Let's prove in Nuwabic. Let's look it up. Let's look it up. Let's look it up so we can learn to speak properly. Okay. So we didn't change the word for that yet, but let's see what prove is. Bukitim tanukum. What is prove? I see provide. Hmm. Proud is fakhur. Pride is razuk. Okay. So it's not in the teacher's guide, the word prove. So that's another word we need to what about evidence? Because a noun can be a verb also. So the word evidence could be a noun, and then the root word could be a verb. Now this is just a suggestion, so I can. Okay, I don't think evidence is in here either. Ah, yes, it is in here. So it looks like evidence is aduth, aduth, and evident. Now it would be edath. Okay, so evident. That's weird because in English sometimes it's hard to tell the root word because evidence, the E and CE, is actually a suffix, but in some English words they'll actually use the suffix in the root word, which is because they don't follow any grammar rules on how they construct their words. So it looks like it's aduth, aduth. All right. So arudze aduth. See, show and prove uh, who you are by evidence of actions and deeds. Anything less is a failure. And I don't care how old you are. Right. Because a lot of business thought that, oh, I'm a high priest of the Amon. Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? Cool. So what's the Amon greeting? Amon, I've heard some brother, what's the Amon? You supposed to be a high priest. You don't know what the Amon greeting is? Wow. See, that's embarrassing. That's just embarrassed. That's embarrassing. You would not make it over here. You would just you would just not make it here. You're better off saying, "Hey, I need to go to the school of Amom again." And these dudes over here, Sabaens, talking about shut it down. Shut it down. You can't shut down a cosmic order. Dr. York brought this order back to us. Dr. York did not start the order. And plus, Dr. York didn't even say that. Y'all just writing it in the books like a bunch of dumb monkeys. You know, I'm not even gonna disrespect monkeys. There's a new word for y'all, like some dumb Nagarus. Gonna say, oh, Dr. York didn't write that. Come on, man. That don't even make no damn sense. Stop AMOM. Stop the nation. Stop HTM. Breathing. Get yourself out of here. Go over to the Sabian camp with that crap. Get out of here. Ain't nobody gonna follow you saying that ignorant stuff. Like some Nagarus, some niggas. Sorry, man. We're not niggas. We're Moors. We're Moors. Dr. York tried to tell you that you're Moors, but hey, if you want to go back to Nagarus, that's fine. You can go back in reverse. And I'm not talking about go back and reverse in time. I'm talking about going back and reverse in intellect and knowledge. So if you want to identify yourself as 3/5 of a person, go ahead. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. There's no history behind the word Nagaru, but there's a lot of history behind the word more. A lot more than your little mind can fathom. So that's why Dr. York used more. That's why he used more, Maur. We say Maur in Nuwabic. That's why he used the word more. Because he said the United Nuwabian Nation of Blacks and Nagarus, they wouldn't have respected us at all. They'd be like, oh, the nation of niggers? The nation of niggers? Oh, okay. Niggers are trying to form a nation now. Okay, cool. Just keeping it real, y'all. So I'm really gonna end it right here. Thanks for listening to my rants and my reasoning, my nine reasoning, from disassociating myself from Sabians and with the teachings of Nuwabu, the type of teachings that he teaches the universes. The Wu Sabat didn't grow the universes, but Nuwabu did, right? Variation of Nuwabu is Nupu, right? You could hear the phonetics, Nupu, Nuwabu. It's the same word, but Dr. York had to write it under a different pseudo name because people were hating on him so bad, right? So he said it doesn't really matter as long as the knowledge gets out there. I'm trying to put the so if I got to use a couple pseudo names to get it out there, so people will look at it with an open mind. Cool. He's like, I'm willing to do that. So that's where that's who Alpha Uno is, right? Right. So peace to all the Nuwabian Moors who kind of who know who they are, right? Um, you know, come to the family calls and I'll see y'all later. Wadu, hatu khera anket.